All right, listeners, welcome back. You're tuning into the Elevated Feminine podcast here with your co-host, Nicole and
Jen.
Yes. We're excited to be back here with yet another inspiring guest. Today we have Viviane Castro, but we're going to call her Vivi because it's cute and that's what she prefers. But she is a hypnotherapist and a life coach, helping women thrive in their life after divorce. Her passion for self-development, neuroscience, and her own past traumas help inspire her to help people identify and move past their mental blocks and become their own heroes. And we're super inspired and excited to have Vivi on our call today. So welcome, Vivi. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. So good to be here.
Awesome. Well, why don't we start with telling you have this beautiful practice, and you and I met through doing a joint coaching program where we were actually paying another coach to help us build our businesses. So I would love if you could share, because what you're offering is beautiful. It's actually very personally relevant at one point in my time too. So I would love if you could just share with our listeners a little bit about yourself and just tell everybody about who you are and what you do.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Okay. So I'm Brazilian and I live in the United States for 10 years now. I am a hypnotherapist and life coach. And as you said, my niche is women that are divorced or are in the process of divorce or have been divorced for a while and are not there yet in their dream life, their success. And that's where I come in and I help them. Yeah, that's my passion. And of course, it stems from my own life and my own traumas. And it became a passion and my mission to really help women become the best they can ever be.
That's amazing. I love that. Because I mean, we know that a woman on fire is a force to be reckoned with. So can I just say, woohoo, hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Hallelujah.
Awesome.
Awesome. So can you, I'm super curious. So I know that you're working with women in this scenario. I'm just kind of curious. You said that it was based on your own traumas and your own experience, but why is that motivating you? Like, why do you feel so called and passionate to elevating women and empowering women in this way?
You know, when my ex-husband left, I was married for 14 years. And when he decided that he didn't want to be in this marriage anymore, and we have 2 children, it absolutely destroyed me. I was so hopeless and confused and angry and scared and, all the feelings. So my therapist at the time, she said, have you heard of this author? Her name is Brené Brown. I'm like, okay, let's see. So I started reading her books and that really, really inspired me. But something very strong that Brené Brown said once was, one day your pain and your traumas will become someone's roadmap. And I was like, that's it. This is my call. So I imagined something like I'm going to make my mission to turn my pain and my trauma into growth and help other women do the same. And to me, it was more, of course, it was personal because I was like, okay, so what is it that I've always wanted to be, but being a wife and a full-time parent did not allow me to. So I thought of financial prosperity and success in my life and in my career, which I didn't have. My career was being a full-time parent. It was like, okay, you know what? This is what I'm going to do, but I still don't know. I still don't know how I'm going to turn this into this. I just started. So I started writing and well, books, of course, helped me so much. And then I hired a mentor, and then I hired another mentor. And I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted to help women. But how am I going to help women? And then one day I was like, this is it. I want to be a life coach. But I still want to, deliver in high performance and make it faster, like quicker results. Because when we are in the dark and we are alone and we're so hopeless, the smallest light will give us a little hope, but we still think, okay, so how long is it going to take for me to get from point A to point B? And of course, we can't give a date for that, but we want to make things faster. So as a hypnotherapist, I go inside people's subconscious mind and I make the changes there, which makes it really transform them.
That's awesome. I really love that quote, first off, from Brene Brown, because I've seen it before too. And I'd love if you could say it just one more time, because I don't want to, you had it really well, and I want to make sure to get it because I want to talk to it.
Yeah. Okay. I was interested. I was just thinking, okay, so what is the exact words? Can't remember, but it says, one day your pain will become someone else's roadmap.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, like that just get all the feels for that one. And I read it somewhere too. That is the gist of it for sure. I've read it definitely before because I've read Brene Brown and stuff too. But what I love so much that you pulled that quote out, and that was the quote that made you go, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I want to do. Then that's what kind of inspired you through your pain. Is basically the same pivotal point that I've had recently for very similar reasons. And so for me, the thing I think I like the most about that is it's a perspective shift that takes time to cultivate, because not everybody can see their trauma like while they're living in it as any kind of positive experience, right? We just see someone's attacking us, or someone did something, or our situation's really hard and we feel really hopeless. And you kind of get absorbed in that. You kind of get wrapped up in all those feelings, right? So what I loved most about it is it's very empowering. It's a very empowering statement to really actually genuinely feel. And I love that so much.
Yeah. And it's I remember when I started thinking, okay, I want to help women, I started doing all the wrong things. I would go on social media and pour my heart out to my friends because I was still in that state of victimhood.
Yep.
Which is where we don't grow. But there is some soothing in there when you're a victim. And I was, like, horrible things happened to me in my life and with my children. So I used that to soothe myself when people were like, oh, I'm so sorry, poor you. And they did mean it, but there was no growth in there. And that's just sympathy. Sympathy is awful. Sympathy is just saying, I'm so sorry you're in there, in the pit. I hope you get out of there.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm not in there.
Yeah. But when I work with people, I work from a place of empathy, which is, yes, I know how you feel. I'm right there with you now. Let's get out. Because you can't truly understand and help if you didn't go through it.
Exactly. Yeah. That quote hit me too, and I was trying to find it. And I'm wondering, I mean, I feel like that is probably the reason why so many of us become coaches.
Mhm.
because we've been through something that was traumatic for us, and we managed to dig ourselves up out of it with sympathy, out of it, and we feel that we have a voice, we have a story to share that could help someone else. We could be that roadmap. And I think it's incredible when you're able to go through what you've been through, and not only dealing with your own personal experience, but also holding space for your children, you know,
Yeah.
and then being able to help other people as well. I mean, that's incredible. And listeners, I'm getting chills just thinking about it, because
Mhm.
you have to put on the brave face for them, you know, because they're going to be looking to you, you know, to explain certain things and to still feel loved, and wondering if it's their fault, and all the emotions they might be going through when you're going through a river of your own. You know, so I'm just visualizing you right now in that process. And to see you, if you all could see her, she is beautiful, she is
Yes.
beaming, she is smiling from ear to ear, and I mean, I got goosies.
Oh, thank you.
So kudos to you for being able to find your way out, and then wanting to share and help others too. I think it's a beautiful offering. I mean, I haven't been through it, but I'm sure that you can still learn something from it, because
Oh,
some of us have been through really bad breakups, not necessarily
Mm.
marriages, but breakups too, you know? So listen up, ladies. And hey, gents,
yes,
if you happen to pop by the Elevated Feminine podcast.
oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, so you don't necessarily need to have been married. I see now that my marriage was doomed from the beginning. My marriage was
Wow.
doomed since I was a child because I didn't have my emotional needs met. And
Mm.
oh my gosh, you have a kitty.
I
So
know, sorry. This is our supervisor. She
okay,
usually
good.
makes an
She's
appearance.
like our
So
executive
you
producer.
Yeah.
yeah, so when you don't have your needs met as a child and you grow up not feeling good enough, you are not worthy of love and attention and respect.
Mm.
Um, it really dooms your relationships
Yeah,
because
especially
you
Yeah.
when
just
you're not
settle.
aware of it, right?
Yeah, and you just
Yeah.
settle for whatever people are offering you.
Yeah.
And it's not even their fault because they
True.
have their own
Yeah, no.
traumas too. And it's this cycle of unhappiness and hopelessness and destruction.
Yeah.
And I remember
Gosh.
many, many years ago, I started doing counseling, and my therapist said to me, what do you like to do? I said, what do you mean? He said, "No, what do you like?" I said, well, I like to eat, and I I like to watch movies. And she said, no. Like, what's your hobby? And I didn't have one because
Mm.
I dedicated so much to just being a mom and a wife and a housewife. And that's what I did because my childhood and my teenage years, they were so turbulent and so messed up that I never built anything inside me.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then my therapist says, okay, do you understand that your happiness is your responsibility? It's not your
Mm.
husband's. And I heard her, but I still didn't understand because we also came from a religious background where you belong to that person, they belong to you, and you just your role is to make him happy, but also vice
Mhm.
versa. His role is to make you happy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that doesn't really compute. So there was this cognitive dissonance, and I'm like, that's not
Oh
what
gosh.
God said in this religion. No, he's supposed to make me happy. But that's a failed theory.
Yeah. It's a
And
trap,
it's
right?
unpractical. Yeah.
You
And
said
Yeah.
it's a trap?
Yeah, it's
yeah,
a
yes,
trap.
yes. It is a
It's
trap.
a trap. Well, because the thing that I hear the most when you're talking about that is just taking the word that came to mind as personal responsibility. Is this, there's just this, there's so much out there now where it's, oh, you need to be sensitive to my insecurities so that you don't offend me, and careful what you say to me, and you should know exactly how you should talk to me and what you should say to me. And there's none of this, yes, we should all be mindful of each other for sure. Don't go around being a jerk. But at the same time, sometimes you just don't know, or you're ignorant and you say something without thinking, or it's completely platonic to you and you've never encountered anybody who gets upset, hurt, or offended by something that you're saying. And then all of a sudden there's this responsibility that someone puts on your shoulders that this is what you did to me. Now you need to make me feel better. Whereas there's also the choice of being hurt, offended, and all those things too. And I mean, I'm going to say choice loosely because, I get it. I've been through traumas too. And in the moment when you're feeling that hurt and you're feeling that dark, it doesn't feel like a choice. It doesn't feel like, it does feel like someone's doing something to you and does make you feel that helplessness. But what I love that you're talking about is this resiliency and this personal responsibility that says, it's okay that I feel this way. And I am probably even justified. And especially when it's in a relationship, there's this dynamic that happens, right? So just we're not perfect, and to a certain degree we're always just going to be hurting each other, and it's just a matter of how we navigate through that. Because at the end of the day, nobody's doing anything to you. Like you said, everybody's got their traumas, and we're if you're not aware of them, we just start acting them out and hurting each other until you become aware of them and heal them, right?
Perfect.
Which is such a big topic that I love talking about. But I think now's a good time to take a little break. We'll break for a little commercial, and then we will be back to elaborate and expand more on this super interesting topic. I know Jen's super interested in it, so she might even have some questions brewing there on her little notepad. So we'll be back with Vivi in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Hi there, I'm Jen, co-host of the Elevated Feminine podcast, where real women have real conversations. If there's a topic you're passionate about and want to share your views and ideas, then we want to hear from you. Send us an email at elevatedfeminine9@gmail.com. We can hardly wait to have a conversation with you. And we're back, listeners, with Vivi, and of course my girl Nicole is in the house, and we are diving right back into it. So we learned from Vivi where the inspiration, motivation, if you will, came from for her doing this important work and helping us navigate these marriages that go south, or even these relationships that don't really work out to our expectations. Let's face it, we have expectations, and Nicole kind of touched on a little bit with stepping on each other's toes and looking for happiness or validation in other people, and how we navigate that. Communication is important. But what I really, really, really want Vivi to talk to us about is, how the heck do you speed up this process with hypnotherapy? Let me know now, because if I could speed it up, I would really sign up for that. And I'm sure our listeners will want to learn about that too. So please, we have a captive audience. Go for it. Let us have it.
Let's do this. Okay, so just understanding what hypnosis is, it's social compliance. It's like me saying, we're at a table and I say, can you pass the salt? You pass the salt. Because I asked you to, you heard me, and you did what I told you to do, what I asked you to do. But in the case of hypnosis, what happens is that our brain is divided by conscious and subconscious mind. The conscious mind is everything that we know when we do consciously. It's like, let's say we are in this room and the room is lit up and you see everything that's in the room. That is your conscious mind. But the subconscious mind, it's like being in a football stadium that is completely dark. and you have a flashlight. And then with a flashlight, you focus that flashlight in one spot, and then in another spot, and another spot. That's when you bring things to your conscious mind. So the subconscious is so massive. It's between 95 and 97% of our brain capacity.
Wow.
Why we cannot, absolutely never access 100% of our brain. We only use 3 to 5% of it, which is our conscious mind. So how I get to the subconscious to make the changes there is putting someone in a very, very relaxed state, which is not unconscious, but almost there. So you are still awake and you're still aware, but you are very, very relaxed. So when the brain waves get to that relaxed state, I can go in there and do the changes and make the changes that you need. And one thing that usually we cannot access, we don't have access to the life that we want and the success that we want. It comes from worthiness. So if I tell you that you are worthy of anything that you want, you most likely, if you are someone with a higher self-esteem, you'll say, of course I am. I already know this. But we were programmed to not know this and to not access it. We were always conditioned to something, and our love, the love that was given to us was always conditional. We only get a grade if we deserved it. So that programmed us since birth. So we go there and we make those changes, and you unlock your true potential. It's really interesting that all the answers that we need are inside of us. I think that's magical. That's wonderful.
Totally.
So, and another thing too, when people are very skeptical of hypnosis because of media, because of movies, and those weird figures that are like using a clock to say now you're very sleepy and then make you do weird things. That is absolutely not the case, although there is something that's called stage hypnosis. But that's not what I do. There is a purpose to put you in that state and help you make the changes. And we go in and out of trance all day long. And sometimes you don't even realize it. It's like you are driving on this road and you still have 45 minutes to get to your destination, but suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, I'm already here. Wow. And you didn't realize. That is a type of hypnosis too. Or when you're with a friend and you're having so much fun and time goes by really fast. That's time hypnosis. So, and also, you know, I don't know if it ever happened to you that you got a cut and you didn't realize that you got hurt, but suddenly you're bleeding. That's an anesthetic hypnosis. So it happens to
I get
us
phantom bruises all the time. So
and you don't know you had a cut until you got using lime or something. Like, wow, when did I cut myself?
Exactly.
Oh gosh, I didn't know that.
You know, watching TV, listening to music. Hypnosis is part of our lives, whether we like it or not. So I think it's very smart to use it to our benefit.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. Wow. So,
I'm just like thinking of all the ways that maybe I'm just like, what else have I been like in a trance like? Because I find that so fascinating. Like, because I really do get phantom bruises. I'm like, I don't even remember hitting myself.
Yeah, no,
it does happen way too often. Way too often.
Absolutely.
So Nicole called me out already, and not in a bad way. It's very, very factual. I'm always jotting down notes and stuff like that. And when you said that you get the person into a very relaxed state, I immediately thought about yoga nidra, where you said that you are relaxed, you're awake and you are aware. And those are some of the words that they often use. And they do plant a lot of seeds in you when you do a yoga nidra. They call up different images and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, well, goodness gracious. I always seem to find a connection to yoga.
It's good.
when our guest
spot on.
So it's the similar way, because I was going to ask you, how do you get the person into this relaxed state? Like, what do you use? Because I feel, do you use anything? Do you give them tea? Do is it just words? Is it music? Is it a certain tone or sound that you play? Like, what is the method? Because the person could very well be nervous, because obviously there needs to be a level of trust. Because let's say they have seen all those stage hypnosis things and are thinking, what if she makes me clap like a chicken whenever I see my ex? or what if she makes me go crazy and I start, like Kung Fu Karate Jet Li, Bruce Lee him? I mean, I'm going way left field, of course, with what could potentially happen. Could you imagine if you just suddenly just went, oh yeah, whatever? But anyways.
Well, I thought about it.
Kind of satisfying.
Ninja when I see my ex.
Just saying, it's kind of satisfying.
Right? Yeah, you get something out of it. No, speaking of stage hypnosis, it's interesting that most people don't know this, but the hypnosis effect, it started much before that person even got on stage. So the hypnotist that is on stage and is talking to people, he's already priming their brain. And it's interesting that he will choose someone randomly, but it's not very random, because he is observing everyone and he's seeing who has the most compliance there, who is really listening and doing what he's told to do, who is nodding and really, really engaged. That is the person that is most susceptible.
Yeah,
you heard it. Sorry.
Yes, we got you.
Well done.
Yeah. Susceptible. I'm still trying to say the word, but you got it, right?
Susceptible. You're good.
Yes,
we're
you
with
got
you.
it. To go in such a deep trance that that person will do whatever. So it started way before that person was on stage or started, fell on a deep sleep or started acting like a chicken or a monkey or whatever.
Yeah.
And
so then, that's okay. Go ahead.
And so that also stems from trust. So when I start talking to someone that is a potential client, I will see if that person will truly trust me and if there's a true will to really change. Because there are people that do want to change, but don't really want to do the work. They don't really want to dive 100% in. And that is not the kind of clients that would have results. And then they will blame on the professional, either the therapist or the hypnotherapist or the doctor or, whatever. Oh, well, you didn't do your job right because I still smoke but in actuality, they didn't commit 100%.
There was resistance.
Yeah. So that's that's the most important thing, because there are a lot of people out there that are not really that good at what they do, but their clients still have amazing results because they are 100% committed.
Interesting.
It's a two-way road.
Wow.
So when you're working with clients with hypnosis and life coaching, so do you do a lot of meditations to kind of help put people into the hypnosis state as a set? How do you weave them together? What sort of, can you give us a snapshot of what your process is like?
Yeah, so I have a program, and in this program, we do meditation daily. So it has
Okay.
to become a habit, not because it's part of the hypnotherapy, but it needs to be part of your brain health. It is the exercise for your brain. And if I want to make true changes, we need to start there. So there are people that don't really like to exercise, and people that don't really like to do journaling, to write down their thoughts. But they do change, and they start doing these things because of how important it is, and they truly understand that their happiness and the success in their lives, it depends on them doing the work every day. Like you shower every day and you brush your teeth every day, you need to meditate every day. That's your hygiene for your brain, or the exercise for your brain. And
Yeah,
then
I was
take
going to ask
care
you.
of your body.
Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Jen. Jen and I are just like, oh, chomping at the bit to ask you questions. Go ahead,
No,
Jen.
I was going to ask you if there was any preparatory work that a client has to do before they come
That's
into a
literally going to
session,
be
you
my
know.
question.
Stacey mentioned the everyday meditation, and somebody might not meditate at all or even be comfortable with it, sitting with thoughts or anything. If there's any preparatory work that they have to do
Yeah,
before
okay.
they
I
work with you, or
absolutely love guided meditation, especially for people that are not used to sit in silence with their thoughts. I personally, I have ADHD, so it's really hard for me to sit with my thoughts, but I trained myself to do it. But guided meditation, I think, is so wonderful. It will help you get in that state, in those brain waves that will really soothe yourself and stimulate your brain and your creativity and your calmness. It's wonderful. Guided meditation is wonderful. And from there, we jump into, okay, now we sit and we just listen to our breathing. And then they are doing it for 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. It's really magical. And that's a person that couldn't stop fidgeting, and yeah. And suddenly this person gets a raise or a promotion at work, and find an awesome date on Tinder, or, you know, things just start happening when you take care of your brain. They
Well,
just
the thing I like most about that is some of it'll feel like magic. And if you actually were to rewind and watch as a third, you'd see all the pieces being laid, the foundations being laid, but you just weren't aware of it. You know, people commenting to you things and kind of like leading, because I've watched that happen with some clients a couple times, and I wouldn't say anything because, you know, you don't want to lead your clients. As coaches, we like, our job is to help you discover and uncover who you are, where you're headed. So it's fun for me to watch them evolving and just, you know, gently helping them move through it, and for them to go, it's like magic. And then I want to, and then I always say, is it though? So here's the thing, what I saw. So I always like, for me, I'm like, oh, I wish there was somebody like watching my moves and being like, see, Nicole, that thing that happened that was magic, here's how that evolved. Because I mean, that's half the fun. And that's kind of what got me into the life coaching and even business coaching, to be honest, because then you get to see, oh, I talked to that like Vivi, you and I sat beside each other. Oh, hi, I've seen you on coaching calls before. And next thing you know, we're wanting to collaborate together. And then there's this opportunity, and that one moves to that one. And it just is this beautiful evolution that it's like, oh, if I hadn't decided randomly at the last minute to go to this seminar, then I would have never met you. And So like things like that, I just get so excited about it because it does. We did have one guest on talking about the magic of life, and that's what she called it, was magic, was that the fun, the excitement, the thrill of having all these, they're like Easter eggs that you find and you're like, oh, there's one, oh, there's another one. And it just makes life so much more enjoyable. And it does really help, you know, like you said, it's that little light in the darkness. When you're in that dark place, all you just need is that little flicker, the little flicker to get you started.
Yes.
So yeah, anyway,
I love that. I love
just,
the synchronicities in life. And what comes to mind is that I wrote on my journal about a year ago, I want to meet people that will help me grow, and that people that will grow with me and will support me, and we will support each other. That is what I want. And that was a year ago. How wonderful is this? And then last October, 3 months ago, right? 4 months ago, we met in San Diego. I don't even live there. I live in Dallas.
I'm in France.
And you're in France. And Jen, where are you?
I'm in Barbados.
Oh, okay. All right. You guys, are you listening to this? I hope you're listening. So we go to this thing that we have been doing, but we never met. So we meet there and we click, and months later we are in this podcast and we're doing amazing things. And you know, it's the synchronicities in life. It's so important. Write down what you want. The universe will give it to you. It will put you in places and in circumstances, and it will deliver. And don't resist. Even if what you meant to do, what you wanted to do, didn't really work out, don't resist. Just let go, because it still served a purpose. Everything serves a purpose.
When it's like that statement that you said earlier, I think it was during the break, where as everything is working for you. And one of my mantras in life is definitely everything is always working out for me, even when it doesn't feel like it is.
Yep. That's true. I subscribe to that as well. And I have to remember that. I have to remember that often. And I just want to touch on something before we take another break, where you mentioned about how these things start happening. I taught a class on Tuesday, and I really wish I could remember what the heck I was saying in this class, because I swear it was an out-of-body experience. But I said something enough that impacted one of the students, because she came back to class this morning. She says, "Oh my goodness, something really spooky happened." I was like, "Well, what?" So she mentioned that. Said, "You know, you were talking about how, you know, you talk about what you want, or you think about what you want and you get it and stuff like that. Well, I was saying that I really wanted to get a Pilates class, a morning Pilates class. And out of nowhere, someone messages me, and now there's a Pilates class being offered in my village in the morning." I'm like, "You're welcome." She's like, I said, "That's not spooky. That's amazing. That's incredible." It just goes to show, when you're in alignment, when you are feeling good about where you are, who you are, and what you want, universe is like, finally, here you go.
Finally, you're not repelling it.
I'm sorry?
Exactly.
You're not repelling it now. Finally, stop throwing it back at me. Here, take it.
There, yes. And there's something that's called collective consciousness. It's like you are thinking about this person, then this person calls you. It's energy. Everything is energy.
So
fun. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It also helps me when something happens and it wasn't the way I wanted, or something bad, just bad happened today or yesterday, whatever. I need to remind myself, if life happens for me, and if I chose to believe that life happens for me and I live in a friendly universe, what am I gonna get out of this? So it's so much easier for me to just let go, just surrender. Surrender is important.
Just super quick, the one thing that those experiences always make me think of is being, I don't know if you've ever been in surfing or swimming in a riptide. If you ever get into a riptide and it's like the swirling water that's pulling you under, and you fight, the harder you fight, the more likely you are to actually drown. The actual only way out of a riptide is to surrender to it, and it'll eventually spit you out. And so for me, like life challenges, I always, because I used to surf when I was living in New Zealand and going to Australia, and that's one thing that they teach you right from the first surf lesson that you ever take is, if you ever get into a rip, just hold your breath, calm your mind, and wait for it to spit you out, because it will. So with that, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk to Vivi about her program, dive in a little bit deeper, and kind of navigate you guys into how you can work with Vivi if it sounds like something that would be helpful for you. So stay tuned for that. We'll be right back.
Hi there, I'm Jen, co-host of the Elevated Feminine podcast, where real women have real conversations. If there's a topic you are passionate about and want to share your views and ideas, then we want to hear from you. Send us an email at elevatedfeminine9@gmail.com. We can hardly wait to have a conversation with you.
Excellent. Well, lovely listeners, welcome back with your co-host Nicole and Jen. We're here with, you're listening to the Elevated Feminine podcast, and we're here with our guest Vivi, and she's telling us all about hypnosis and working as a life coach, and how mindset really can help shift things. And she's given us some great ideas and some tips, such as meditation. She really recommended guided meditations to really help you. Maybe you talked about the mental health, as well as, we exercise, so you need to keep that mental health going too. And so we'd love to share with our listeners is how, if somebody is sitting here listening right now and saying, I love her vibe, I really like what she's talking about, and I want to get into hypnosis and life coaching, seems like such a great combination. Can you share with everybody a little bit about the work you do and what it's like to work with you, and just give us a little snapshot of that?
Yeah, so working with me, it's easy to find me on Instagram and DM me. I have a program that incorporates, first of all, mindset. So we do go when we learn how to prime and change your brain. And that is an exercise that needs to be done every day. We talk about your relationships, first your relationship with self, and then relationship with others, and how to find out when you are ready to embark in a romantic relationship again, and how to do it. Then we talk about your physical health, as well as your mental health, and how they work together. If you are fit, but you are depressed, then you're not healthy. There is no mental health if there isn't physical health, and there is no physical health if there isn't mental health. That's something that people tend to separate, but they go together. And we also talk about finances and how to set yourself up for success in your life. It's very important, especially because when you go through such a breakup, especially divorce, where, things are absolutely, they are split. And most of the time, women are the ones that are more financially hurt through divorce. So it's important to learn how to manage that and to understand economics and how it works, and the energy of money. How important it is to understand what money really is, which is dumb to think about, but money is energy. And if you don't have the same energy, if you're not aligned with the same energy as money, you will not grow. And I want my clients, I designed this program so my clients would be financially successful, whatever that means to them. So it also goes back to self-worth, and you know how important it is to understand where you were damaged in the past. So that's where also hypnosis comes in very handy. We go through regression and we go back there and we fix that, or we recode it. It's very important. So money will show up in your life when you learn how to love yourself. It will never really come to you easily and effortlessly if you don't love yourself, or if you don't know how to love yourself. That is also interesting. And in the end, I do train my clients to do such thing as self-hypnosis, which is like the gem, the cherish, the cherry on the top of the sundae, because it is a tool that they can use for the rest of their lives.
Okay, I was going to ask if you did do something like that, that they can continue the therapy in between the sessions, because kind of like when you go to a physiotherapist, you're supposed to do therapy on your own in between. So I was just wondering, so it's good to know self-hypnosis, Nicole.
Yeah.
You look very intrigued.
I'm like, ooh. Yeah, well, Jen, you and I, our listeners, you probably have already figured this out about us. Jen and I really like the empowering side of therapies and healing. So we always like to know, what can I do? What can our listeners do?
Yeah.
Yes, it's great to have support, because even I was just talking about this with somebody the other day. I'm a nutritionist, but I really love going to see a nutritionist, not because I don't know a lot, but I also know I don't know everything, and sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. So having a sounding board to bounce ideas off of is great, which is why I also really love coaching, being coached and coaching. I think that's great. And yoga is the same way, yoga teacher and students, because they get Jen, you were talking about the feedback from one of your students the other day, and I think that that's just like that exchange of ideas and experiences. I just really love that. But yeah, the empowering piece, that's why Jen and I are here in the first place, is like empowering women. How can we empower each other, bringing beautiful humans like yourself, Vivi, onto this show just to share your ideas and thoughts. And so definitely self-hypnosis. I have like a little tiny question about that. If you could, for people like me who are kind of like, ooh, that sounds like a nugget I want.
Yeah, very intriguing.
Could you share a little bit of insight what that means? Like, how would you hypnotize, or do, I don't know if you can use that in that term in that way, but like, how would you do self-hypnosis? Because I feel like the hypnotherapy sessions I've been to, someone is talking to me. And so would you record yourself? Do you teach them a script? Like, how does that look? I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, I'm not very passionate about scripts, because I like to work with what you want to do, and people are different, right? So it does come from studying the person and what triggers and what really motivates them. And I use neuro-linguistic programming. That is what really, it's a game changer in this area. But basically, in self-hypnosis, you need to go through it for quite a bit with someone, so you can learn little techniques and go there. But also, one thing about self-hypnosis, which some people are like, you know what, this is not for me, this is not going to work, because it does take some work. So be patient with yourself. You are going to be in a very light trance for a while and easily distracted, but it is training. And it is like meditation, but it's in a more relaxed state. And you will learn according to your needs. You will learn what you need to be thinking and what kind of music would really be great, but what kind of binaural beats would really help you. So it depends from person to person, but it is something that can absolutely be done.
Awesome. I love that. I'm so intrigued.
Yeah, it's very intriguing.
Yes.
To know
But
that
you
you
know
can give
what?
yourself a little boost.
It's so for the listeners that really want to do self-hypnosis, start with guided meditation. If you will be halfway there, and you know what, put it out there, the universe will find a way to show you.
Beautiful. I love it. And then, so to work with people, do you do one-on-one? Do you do group? How is the structure of your program? How does that work?
Yeah, I work with both. I do one-on-ones, but I also work in a group setting. It really depends on the person and what they're going through at the moment.
Right.
Most of the time, I work with one-on-one, and then we upgrade to group, because when you're in a group setting, you learn so much more and you feel more empowered and you learn from each other. It's really amazing.
Beautiful. And for people who want to get in touch with you, you already mentioned Instagram. We're going to share your details in the description. So if you're listening to this and Vivi sounds like somebody you want to contact and get in touch with, you can definitely reach out to her there. So check out the description. And maybe a good question for everybody. We like to give little nuggets for our guests, and you kind of alluded to a few things. So maybe you could just highlight for us, what is just one to three things that you'd like to share that you recommend that people really get on board with when it comes to their mental health, and, you know, in particular, women going through divorce, since that's the group that you're really wanting to work with. If you could just kind of recap or re-highlight those for us, that would be really helpful.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for asking. That's my passion.
Yay.
If I can give you one tip or two or three to start doing, journaling is so important. It's a beautiful and so powerful tool and exercise for your brain. And you also align your energy with the universe. It's amazing. Meditation. So this is what I do every morning. I meditate and I journal. And if I don't have time, it's okay. I give myself grace, because some days are crazier than others, but it is something that is it's a routine. So if I don't do it today, I will do it tomorrow. It works. It truly works. And it's something that billionaires do. The most successful people in the world do, and I like to imitate those people.
Right?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's something I've always thought, you know what, I'm gonna do what this person is doing and let's see where it takes me. And it has taken me amazing places and very, very far in life. So yes, so journaling, meditation, taking a cold shower it does wonders. Wonders for your mental health, for your immune system. Yeah.
I don't disagree.
I
But that
didn't
came
see that
from
coming.
left field. I did not see that coming either. I was like, what?
No.
Oh, cold showers. I'm like, I know they're good for me, but man, I resist those.
Oh man,
Okay.
it's wonderful to do it. Like first thing in the morning, you are priming yourself and your brain for, you know what? This is the hardest thing I had to do today, and I did it first. So
That's a good perspective.
I'm gonna work up to that one. I'm gonna work up to that one.
Yeah. Also, contact with nature. Just go for a walk. Going for a walk in nature is great for your mental health and your physical health and your energy.
Yeah. I feel like nature is the perfect solution for anything that ails you.
Yeah.
Connecting. Yeah.
I feel
That's
that.
true. Oh my gosh. This We just have the best guests. We really
We
do.
do. We just meet the most amazing people. Love it.
We do. Oh my goodness. Wow.
It's an
What
honor for me to be here. It's such an honor. You two are such a beacon of hope and beauty in this
oh
world.
wow.
And I love being here. Thank you.
Gosh, thank you
you.
so much. Jeez. I mean, I don't know if you know our story. I mean, we always seem to end up telling it, but talk about, I mean, would that be like happenstance, synchronicity? I don't even know, because we don't know each other. We didn't know each other a year ago. We just happened to be on the same webinar. And just, we were like 2 of 6 people that were supposed to come into this call. And for some strange reason, I remember how it even came up that we found out where she was and where I was living, and that I went to school with one of her cousins.
Wow.
and then we decided, we knew we needed to work together. We didn't know how. And then next thing you know, we ended up doing a podcast together. So, I mean, here we are. Almost
Beautiful
1 year
people.
later.
Beautiful
Yeah.
people find beautiful people. So I'm
Yes.
Yeah.
very happy
Yes.
about that.
So we too are honored to have had you here, sharing your voice, sharing your heart, and empowering our listeners on the Elevated Feminine podcast. Vivi, it has been my utmost pleasure listening to you and learning from you. And we would love for you to come back sometime and share a little bit more. And I just want to thank you and Nicole, and of course, Bijou, who is our executive producer, for being here. And for all of our listeners on the Elevated Feminine podcast, join us again really, really soon, where real women have real conversations. Until next time, everyone, take care.